Well, hello and welcome to our reading of Iliad 3, and we're doing this quite slowly, so up to verse 46, the top of the page here. And in the context of this, of course, Hektor is upbraiding his brother Paris, or also known as Alexandros, and he said in the previous line, there is no strength nor any valour in your mind. And this is A is introducing a question. The question mark is a fair way down, but there's the question here. So A is used to introduce a question, and you've got a participle here, and toiosdi, such a one. So were you such a man? Did you behave in such a way? Sarcastically used, of course, here. Epiplosas, from epipleo or epiploo, you get both forms. So sailing upon the sea, en pontoporoi sineesin, on your sea-going ships. You get this form for ship here instead of the usual nous. In Homer you get this naos root. So on ships, egeras, having gathered together, eras, well, this is a funny word here, it means something like devoted. The eri is intensitive, and the r root here has the sense of help. So very helpful, so devoted or loyal. Hetarus, for heterus, the iota's been dropped to make a short vowel. Comrades. So, were you such a man when you'd sailed upon the sea on your sea-going ships, having gathered together your trusty comrades? Mikthes is from misgo. There is that in later Greek, and in Greek there is that form mignumi, which is connected with this, but misgo seems to be the form used most commonly in Homer. So mikthes is the aorist, the stem of this is mig, and the theta of the aorist passive participle turns the gamma into, aspirates the gamma into a chi. So this is from misgo, and it's in the passive it has the sense of to be intimate with someone in every possible sense of the word. So he's being quite sarcastic here again. It's literally having mingled with, or having had intimate connections with alla de poisi. These are foreigners, and so it's a pun here, really. It's having contact with, having social intercourse with, and the hint is that it was more than just social intercourse. Anages, from anago, you brought back a euadia, a beautiful woman. Ex apies gaies, from a faraway land. The nuon, this is referring, of course, to Helen. She is the daughter-in-law of men who are spearsmen. This is the genitive plural. It's a first declension noun. It's oikmetes, and underneath this there's the alpha stem, which normally contracts, but here in Homer typically you see the uncontracted form, and there's the genitive plural. So of men who are spearsmen. So you put them both together, I think. So the daughter-in-law of spearsmen. We get a te and a te. A mega pema. This is referring, of course, to Paris. So all that you did here was a mega pema, a great pain, both to your father and polei, to your city, and to all the demoi. This is always land in Homer, not people. In later Greek, demos means the people, but in Homer it always refers to the land. So not just the city, but the whole land. And we get a men and a de here. So a karma, a laughing stock, a joke to your enemies, and kat ephean is a funny word. The etymology I don't think's secure. A cause of shame or humiliation, soi auto, to yourself. Uk an de meneas. Now here we've got uk an plus the optative. Now in Homer, uk an plus the optative is generally used of a polite request for something, or it can be used as it is here in a sarcastic sense. Because remember that as soon as Paris caught sight of Menelaus striding on the battlefield, he immediately decided to run back behind the battle lines amongst the host of the Trojans. And he says, so this is from Menno, but you could translate it as something like stand your ground, I think is a good way of translating this here. And the day is emphatic. So would you not stand your ground against Menelaus, who is beloved of Ares? Gnoies, again optative, this is a statement here, you would not know, it's almost a question, but you, in that case, you would not know of what sort of photos man you have the thalaran. Now thalaros, used in the masculine of men, often means strong. When it's used of women, it's more in the sense of beautiful, in full bloom. That's another meaning of thalaros, is you use it with flowers of blooming as well. So just say beautiful here. Parakoitin, the one who sleeps beside you, so wife. So it means it's something like, in that case, you would not know what sort of man you have his beautiful wife. Now the photos here, one must be careful. There are two of these in Greek. There's phos with that accent meaning light, and there's phos with that accent meaning a man, and they're different, so just be careful. It's got nothing to do with light here. This is this phos, a man. In that case, you wouldn't know the nature of the man whose wife you have, whose beautiful wife you have. Uk an toi kreisme kitharis ta tedor Aphrodites. The subject is Kitharis, the lyre, and Tardora Aphrodites, the gifts of Aphrodite. And this is subjunctive here. Would not be of any use. Kreismeo is to help or assist. Would not be of any help to you. Wouldn't be much use to you. Now, what are the gifts of Aphrodite? Well, they're the kome, your hair, toter erdos, and your looks. So the lyre and the gifts of Aphrodite, your hair and your good looks, will be of no use to you when Migeas, here's this misgo again, and again it's an optative here without an. So when you might literally mingle in the dust, and again I think it's got loaded meanings here. So in other words, when you've been killed and you're lying in the dust, these things will be no use to you. So it's literally when you mingle in the dust, when you perhaps fight in the dust, when you engage with them in the dust, or perhaps lie in the dust, having been killed. But the Trojans are very much de daemones. This is a funny word. It's only here in Homer. It has the sense of, it means cowards. It's connected with dado, I fear. So the Trojans are, the mother is emphatic here, the Trojans are great cowards. And the ateken, ade, it's something like, otherwise you would, heso is from henumi, is the verb. Henumi, to put on. This is the pluperfect passive here. So otherwise you would now be clothed, would now have been clothed in a leinon, in a stone chitona cloak. In other words, you would be stoned to death for what you've done. It's quite a dramatic expression here, to be clothed in a stone coat, i.e. you'd have stones, you'd be covered in stones, i.e. you'd be stoned to death. Heneka kakon, on account of the evils. Hossa, as many things as. Orgas, this is perfect, second person singular, from ergo, to work. Connected with our, of course, with our word work, and there's probably a digamma missing in here because we've got two vowels together. So there's probably a wet orgas was the original here, and the digamma, of course, doesn't dropped out in Greek at a fairly early stage. So for otherwise now you would be clothed in a stone coat on account of the evils as many things you have wrought.